This is You've Already Been Hacked, recorded on 15 August 2025. Welcome back to You've Already Been Hacked. This show is where paranoia meets preparation. Tonight, we are diving deep into DEF CON 33. Cyber Cowboy and I are back from the hacker mecca where AI, surveillance, and red teaming collide in spectacular fashion. I had some great conversations with the Microsoft Security Copilot team. There was some ghost mode stuff, some counter surveillance, some CTF, and a couple fireside chats to go over. But before we get started with all of that, everybody, I just want to wish my compatriot here, Cyber Cowboy, a happy birthday. Cowboy, happy birthday to you.
To the hog, good sir. Thank you very much. And to those that are listening to us and silently thanking me, cheers to you. One more trip around the sun, as you eloquently put it earlier. I'm just here for the ride, baby. Just here for the ride.
All right, let's get into it. So Cyber Cowboy and I were gone for the past 9 days at DEF CON. We both attended the conference and then we attended the DEF CON trainings, but not as trainees. And we'll get into that at the very end. For those, if you haven't heard about DEF CON, it's been around now for 33 years. And if you're listening to this podcast, I certainly hope you've been there at least once. This year's overall vibe, from badge hacking to autonomous AI red teaming, DEF CON 33 was a cross-section of definitely inducing paranoia, innovation, and practical tooling. The lines between adversaries and defenders are blurred when you go to DEF CON, and both are exploring how AI agents could reason, deceive, and evolve in sandbox chaos. A lot of talks focused around these type of themes, at least from what I saw. And Cowboy, chime in if I've missed any of the major themes. Right, there was agent-based red teaming, not just scripts, but reasoning bots that adapted in mid-operation, invisible threats, browser extensions, API abuse, and LLM prompt injections, data minimalism and anti-surveillance, which is always a big thing at DEF CON, and a lot of open source and community power. A lot of major toolkits, dropped codes and docs for extensions, iterations, and collective hardening. It was just a really big con this year. It took over the majority of the Las Vegas Convention Center. And I don't know about you, Cowboy, but the professor here, I did, 30, 40, 50 miles worth of walking.
Yeah, I mean, all 3 floors of the main convention hall. Hey, hats off to the DEF CON team. LineCon was minimal this year.
What is LineCon? What is LineCon? Explain that to everybody. That right. Maybe hasn't been to DEF CON.
So LineCon, I don't know when it started. At least 5.
Oh no!
It means you're standing in line, right, waiting to get your badge for hours and hours, and all kinds of beach balls start getting hit around. People start getting a little agitated, and you're there for quite a long time, right? 4 to 5 hours.
Oh, easily. But this year was not
40 minutes, right? From the time they opened to the time we were.
I mean, it might have been like closer to
that,
maybe an hour and change. But yeah, this was honestly one of the fastest line cons I have ever been a part of. And I will say, we got some back room, behind the scenes knowledge. Truth in advertising, DEF CON nearly essed the bed right off the jump, and not because of themselves. The people that are working the conference, hats off to them, man. They put on a good show. I don't care what you see on Reddit. Those people are working their asses off and doing the best job that they can do. Their suppliers, like year over year, especially when it comes to the badges, almost screw them over. It's terrible. And I don't know, Cowboy. Yeah. I don't know if we should say how close it came to almost being a catastrophe or not. I don't know if that's something we should put out there in the public domain, but it was close, folks. It was real close. So, yeah, I mean, it was just a good show. I think that it was very well polished this year, and not polished in the way that you would think like corporate polish, but they did well. And something on the order of more than 20,000 people were in the convention center at any given time while the con was going on. So
Yeah.
that's a lot. It's a lot of logistics, and after 33 sessions of it, I think they really have, for the most part, their act together. Now, we'll say, you'll see on Reddit that some of the help was maybe not as ethical as it could have been, and I'm sure that's a real possibility. I didn't see any unprofessionalism. For those that don't know, most of the help at DEF CON are known as goons, and every single goon that I interacted with as an attendee was professional, was helpful. I didn't have any problems with any of them this year. So if some of the things you're reading out there happened, I didn't see it, and it had to be a minority level of event as opposed to anything that was common.
Yeah, it's easy to sit back and quarterback judge what putting on a conference of 20,000 plus attendees plus a couple hundred speakers and events and everything else. And I'll tell you, through the backdoor talks we had, if you will, they're serious about holding their goons accountable, and they need to know when and who so they can handle it. So agree. I didn't see any unprofessionalism, but if it happened, report it, because we got to we got to hold those goons accountable too, and they want to hold them accountable.
Absolutely. And I will say this, the one thing I noticed this year, the only thing, but one of the things I noticed this year is the code of ethics and the hotline information was literally everywhere. I mean, you couldn't walk in a hallway without passing 2 or 3 signs easily that showed you what the code of ethics was and how to get in touch with the hotline if there was a problem with anything. It was also in the guidebook. So yeah, they really wanted to make sure that people knew how to reach out and get in touch with, those that could help them if something was going wrong. And I think that's really important. They take it, as Cowboy said, they take it super seriously. They are professionals a lot. And on top of that, I don't think a lot of people realize it, but most of the goons almost exclusively are volunteering their time while they're there, right? They're given a per diem so that they can, eat and have a hotel room and stuff like that. But they're there as volunteers. So these people are working under incredible stress on their own time to provide us with just an incredible experience to actually learn something. And for that, my digital hat, I would take Cowboy's hat off his head if it was possible, off to them, because good show, everybody. Good show.
Don't touch my ones and zeros cover.
Okay, with that, let's get on to some of the things that we saw at DEF CON. So, first off, our top story, General Paul Nakasoni's DEF CON talk, NSA in the Age of AI. The former NSA director, General Paul Nakasoni, offered a candid view on how AI is reshaping both surveillance and national defense. He stressed collaboration between government, academia, and ethical hackers to ensure the U.S. stays ahead without compromising democratic values. Some of the key takeaways from his talk: AI's dual role. It is a tool and a threat. Intelligence agencies must understand both offensive and defensive uses. Collaboration is greater than secrecy. NSA is actively working with white hats to better vet AI models. Another point he brought up was evolving threat surfaces and how AI can enable faster attribution, but also more sophisticated obfuscation. And then one more thing he brought up was operational security, which you would think a 4-star general would bring up, emphasizing layered defense over dependency on tech alone. Cultural training and overall training are still the front line in your operational security. And this is something that we touched on a week or two ago, thanks to one of our listeners' questions. Overall implications, especially for defenders, are expect greater interlock between public and private entities on AI security, and enterprises should prepare to answer federal questions about LLM safety, prompt injection, reliance, and model sourcing. thought it was a really great discussion he had on stage. And there, he was pushed a few times to try and lean into political things, which we on this show obviously don't. And I think he was absolutely professional in the way he kind of answered those questions without pointing a finger in any one direction, right? I think that he's right not to do that. I think that these are bigger than politics of the moment type of issues. Cowboy?
Yeah, I didn't get to hear him talk at DEF CON, but I've heard him talk multiple times before. I have huge respect and admiration for the general. He's a great man and a great American and a great patriot. And yeah, people always will push that, right? And I will say, well,
Oh no.
I can look at every administration and point to good things and bad things, right? Stuff I agreed with, stuff I didn't agree with. I always believe in my heart that the majority of an administration is doing their best and what they think is right for the country, right? So I'm glad he didn't fall into any of those traps. I think he's used to it, right? I think he's used to dodging the traps. And so having him be able to come in and talk to folks and share that information. And he's right. AI is a double-edged sword. It's can and will do great things, and it can and will do awful things in the hands of great people and in the hands of some not so great people.
Very true. Cowboy, what do you have for us?
All right. Gosh, there's so many great things to talk about. I want since we're on AI, I want to talk about DARPA's AI Cyber Challenge. So this was actually a 2-year culmination event. It was first, the semifinal competition was showcased at DEF CON 32 last year, August 2024, and brought together some of the best and brightest in the nation. Cumulative prizes totaled $29.5 million, including $7 million in prizes to small businesses to empower their entrepreneurial innovation. And you want to talk about amazing things, so I'm going to throw some stats out to help folks kind of understand what they were looking at here. So there were 70 known vulnerabilities that they put in this AI code. 54 of them were discovered, so about 77%. 43 vulnerabilities got patched, and unlike a typical CTF, patching was worth more points than discovery of the vulnerability. So these teams actually had to go in and make these patches. So the winning team, whose name was Team Atlanta, they found 41 vulnerabilities and had 3 successful patches. One of their teammates had 1,000. It says 1,000 plus going on during the event. And they actually discovered 9 0 days beyond that. So
wow.
The booth is not the right. The village, the AI village that this thing was taking place in was awesome.
Cowboy, was this the AI CC floor basically that was in one of the main areas that like it took up a massive amount of space, right? It was really cool. It wasn't just a village by itself. It was like a community center almost. That's how big it was. Go for it.
So that was the thing. The first place team took home $4 million. Like,
wow.
I actually had no idea how big the prizes were before I really started looking into it. So these are the best and brightest. A lot of them are young. Surprise, surprise. But the great work that DARPA and others, a lot of co-sponsors. You can go to AI-cybersecuritychallenge.com or go to DEF CON site and go read. There's so much information, right? There's videos of stuff that took place, what they saw, how they got after it, tons of information. If you want to nerd out, go take a look at it, but it was very impressive. I was in awe at the level of brilliance I was in company of.
Wow. That's really impressive. $4 million for that's incredible that they were able to pull that together, and that DARPA would have that type of pot for folks to go after. That's really impressive. Really motivating too, obviously, right? So good on them. Speaking of AI, big theme this year. So I had a chance to talk with members of Microsoft's security Copilot team in a fireside chat. For those, if you don't know what Copilot is at this point, one, there's not one Microsoft Copilot. There are Copilots for Copilots that are tailored depending on what it is. And in this case, we're talking about a Copilot that could end up being part of your SOC. Microsoft helped showcase a little bit about how Copilot can turn incident response into natural language experiences, triaging alerts, hunting threats, auto-generating scripts, and stitching together Defender XDR, Sentinel, and third-party tools. It was really an interesting talk. And when I actually got to talk to them, look, Professor being a content creator, a user of AI, I quite simply said, hey guys, can we improve just one of the UI experiences in general Copilot? And they're like, well, which Copilot? I went, all of them. Could we get folders in our chat history or tags so that I can keep related chats together for concepts or ideas or threads of thought or something, so that I can find my related information easier, as opposed to doom scrolling however many chats I have, however far back they go? And they actually looked at me with like this look of shock and surprise, like they had never thought, this was not an idea for them to have. And they went, that's a great idea. Yes, we will bring that back. So Professor just wants to say, you're welcome if you see those changes happen. It's all because of me. But why this matters, why does Security Copilot matter? It's a promise to shrink the time to response, right? Which is something that Cowboy and I have talked about forever, is that we have to be more nimble and more agile, especially in our defense. And it's going to empower, this is the good thing, it's going to empower junior analysts to act like more seasoned pros, right? And something else, as long as junior analysts keep getting hired, something else that we really need is, because we need people to be as effective as they can be as fast as possible. And this is definitely a way to get there. Some other things that are of interest for defenders are to take action and test plugin customization workflows that align with Copilot if you're using it in your threat modeling, to validate its remediation logic against live incidents before you put it into production, which is always important. Test before you use, and use Copilot scripting features to reverse engineer or auto generate detection queries, but always add a manual review loop. As they say, it cannot be turtles all the way down. Cowboy?
Yeah. So one of the events I wanted to talk about is it was entitled Cash, Drugs, and Guns, which I'm a fan of definitely two of those things, and drugs to a lesser extent to just make my back and hip not hurt so much. But it's why your safes aren't safe. So I went in there. This was done by two gentlemen, Mark Omo and James. The nerds of the nerds get there, right? They did this in their spare time. They saw a news article that Liberty Safe provided safe unlock codes to authorities, and it made them stop and be like, "Huh? How do they do that? And what else is possible?" Right? So fast forward, they buy some OEM lock safes made by SecuRAM, which is a very large gun and pharmaceutical lock provider.
So wait, pause for a second. So pharmaceutical locks, I get that. But you're also saying they make arms as well? Did I hear that right?
No. So gun safes.
Oh, safes. Okay. All right.
Many gun safes use their locks. Yeah, use their digital locks on the outside. And to skip through the highly technical stuff, because you can go and read about it, I watched them talk about how they were able to access the debug port, download all of the firmware, reverse engineer it, and see that the codes were stored right there in the firmware. So, but then they said,
Cowboy, I'm sorry, man. Your mic cut up
by
there.
the way, it was,
What did they say?
oh, they said the locksmith advertises encryption, right? So they use a symmetric encryption, which can't be broken real time, but it's more of a problem if you have the algorithm in the code right next to the key code.
That's
So
not
they
good.
so they just downloaded that and broke the key, broke the encryption. It was hilarious because if you've ever worked with government safes, there's a closed open magnet. There's just had open and open. So they just put together using a Raspberry Pi. They pop out the battery, stick it into the debug port, which is accessible through the battery option, and open the safe in about 4 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's frightening.
Super. And so what they said was, hey, you're leaving your codes and you're leaving your all of the critical data outside of the safe, not back behind the electronic lock in the safe, right? It's right there on the outside. They did report this because all good ethical hackers report things that they find immediately. At first, they were like, hey, thanks. Don't tell anyone. You're going to ruin our reputation and relationships with people. Like, well, maybe you should tell people, right? And they did this through about a 2-year process, and they bought a brand new safe OEM. Abilities were still present. So I bring that up to say, one, it was remarkable to see how quickly and easily they were able to find the vulnerability, reverse engineer it, and unlock these safes. How prominent these locks are on safes around the world, and how nonchalant the manufacturer was to fix their stuff. And that all goes to say, like, we got to start holding these companies accountable when they're told about major vulnerabilities to get them fixed.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it nonchalant, right? Like it's like they were like, please don't tell anybody we actually have a vulnerability. It would cost us our market. Well, that's a problem in and of itself. Like maybe fix the vulnerability.
Right. You can fix it and come out later and be like, hey, we found something, we fixed it. Yeah. We're on it, right? That's not market, that's not brand damaging, in my opinion. Like, I expect there to be something wrong. I expect there to be vulnerabilities, right? We know this. So thanks for finding it. Thanks for fixing it. And let's keep doing great things. But they were like,
that's sad. That's just really sad. But that's also one of the good things that comes out of DEF CON, right? Is that, excuse me, is that it's a chance for people to see things that are otherwise going to be hidden from them that they probably should know about. If your safes and your locks and your security systems are already compromised, you should know. You shouldn't continue to buy or use a product that is compromised if it's known that it is compromised, right? Somebody should be letting you know. So putting a little sunshine on something like that, I'm all for it. Let's see. Okay, next one. I ended up going to a talk from the AI Security Institute, and they did an evaluation of frameworks. They did this through a breakdown of how to evaluate AI agents in cyber ranges using multi-host segmented networks with live defenses, adversary reasoning, and flag-based scoring. This was a really interesting talk, and it really showed how you could evaluate autonomous AI outside of toy sandboxes. Because a lot of times, and one of the things they talked about in the talk was we tend to test AI systems very linearly. Can A plus B plus C equal D, that sort of thing. Whereas when we're in a cyber range, right, we're testing our SOC analysts to see if they can see all these weird things happening at once. Well, we should be testing our AI support systems that are going to go into SOCs the same way. We shouldn't be testing them in a linear fashion. So I thought that was really good. It showed how red teams should consider agent-based C2, lateral movement, and sabotage as all key elements of testing their autonomous AI agents. Some of the things for defenders to think about here are building your own cyber range that trains and simulates real-world noise, EDR, firewalls, NPCs, and phishing, just to get that noise, to get to see if your AI is going to see what it needs to see on your network. Yes, that could be expensive, but totally worth it. Emulate agent decision-making in your tabletop exercises to stress test response plans and track behavioral flags, not just telemetry. In blue team simulations to catch reasoning drift or power-seeking AI behavior, because we all know AI always does exactly what we want and doesn't hallucinate and doesn't try to save itself, right? So let's make sure that that's not happening. Another just really eye-opening at some of the stuff. They're not just using, this was another talk where they're not just using AI in the way that the majority of people are using AI. They're really thinking in that second or third order type of how can we push an AI system or test an AI system or look at an AI system or use that system in a unique and novel way. And all for that creativity. Cowboy?
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm going to talk real quick about exploiting security and privacy side channels in end-to-end encrypted messengers. So, two very smart master student and a PhD candidate from the University of Vienna talked about two different ways that one way for two things. So WhatsApp and Signal. So for our audience out there, if you use WhatsApp or Signal and think you're perfectly safe, please raise your hand. I can't see you.
And you can't raise your hand, so that's that's another thing altogether.
Camera is not cool enough to raise my hands, but I'll get there eventually. So they started with WhatsApp, and they revealed how delivery receipts can be exploited to track a user's online status, screen activity, and device usage without their knowledge. The technique enables passive surveillance, enables you to drain a target's battery and their data allowance while remaining entirely invisible to the user. The second vulnerability they demonstrated against Signal was a Signal protocol targeting its perfect forward secrecy mechanism, or PFS. I'll try to keep it simple. So they have pre-keys that they keep on the server because they give new keys every time there's a session initiated. And what they're able to do is go in and basically keep getting the keys until they deplete the amount of keys, and different iOSs and operating systems refill the keys at different intervals. And what they're able to do is essentially cause very simple denial of service attacks against users. Like my other story I covered, they let Meta and who owns Signal? And whoever owns Signal, let them know, and they actually weren't even acknowledged, weren't even responded to about it. Yeah.
Well, that's another example, right? Just like the safe manufacturer, they just didn't even care.
Right.
I mean, maybe they do. Well, so maybe they already knew about it, and maybe there's nothing they can do about it. So why respond? You could make that. I can see that argument. I'm not for it, but I can I could imagine it.
Yeah, and I don't know enough about what the company's ability to intake information like that is properly. But either way, it's red flags of how we want to help the companies better protect their customers, and we can't seem to get through to them when we have vulnerabilities and exploitation, especially the first one, right? The ability to enable passive surveillance, completely unknown to the user, see their screen, see their status, device usage, drain their battery, all very scary notions as a user.
Yeah, very scary notion, because that just means that your device is pretty much hijacked at that point, right? And there's no indication of it, that's kind of terrifying. But again, Healthy doses of paranoia.
Healthy.
Or unhealthy at this point. All right, I'm going to go over one more. There's a few more that I wanted to bring up, but you know what? There's so much at DEF CON. I'm just going to hit one more story. If you want to know more or see more about the talks or learn more from DEF CON without actually going to the conference, the good people at DEF CON do an incredible thing, which they have a media server up. And they allow you to download everything. You have, and the professor has been scraping it since I got back because I'm sure there's lots of useful information in there that I'm going to want to review or at least have an AI go through in some sort of vector at some point. You can go to, I think it's media.info.defcon.org. Let me make sure I give you that correctly, folks. I want to pull it up over here and I will get it to you. It is, yeah, it's media.defcon.org. And on that site, they have every slide, picture, white paper, music, whatever
Videos
from DEF CON 1
of the talks.
Videos of the talk if they're available. Yep, from DEF CON 1 all the way through DEF CON 33. So, wildly useful resource. It is not just for fun, but there's good fun things on there too. I highly recommend you go and check it out. My last story for the night. Copycat, red team identity stealing extension for your browser. Copycat was a browser extension framework that executes 10 distinct identity theft attacks from OAuth hijacking, autofill theft, and one-time pad captures, fully in the browser with minimal permissions. Okay, this matters, right? Because these attacks bypass your MFA, your EDR, and your network protections because they exploit authenticated sessions. They're quiet, they're invisible, and I dare say that's devastating. This was a scary talk because this is barrier to entry to doing horrible things is as low as you can get as putting out a Chrome extension. And it is available. I'm not going to name it. Other than Copycat, I don't know if that is the name where they have it, but good luck finding it. But it is available for you to get to. As a defender, you should be concerned with this. You should audit your enterprise SaaS applications for autofill abuse, token reuse, and OAuth flows. You should be using browser-specific monitoring to detect hidden or background tabs and unauthorized storage calls, and you need to train users to spot OAuth manipulation during consent flows, especially in embedded widgets. Man, you know, another thing that we all use, just like Professor's very upset that GitHub is being now used as an attack platform. Just browser extensions, man. Just browser extensions now are going to become a horrible problem. It's everything. It's everything, and it's terrible. Cowboy.
It is, as Jim proved on The Office. Identity theft is a crime, and with someone from a offensive cyber background, like what an amazing tool to do horrible things from an attacker standpoint, but it's a great red team adversary emulation capability. And I spent a lot of time at the adversary village because that's kind of my thing, my background and stuff I really like to get into. And when you hear folks talking about stop just doing red teaming, if you're not emulating the threat to your business, you're doing yourself goes hand in hand with the copycat thing, right? Is you've got to know not just what the bad cyber actors are doing because they're doing so much, but what are they doing against your business and your customers? That's what makes a difference. So to all of my businesses out there hiring red teams, really, before you pay them big money, really delve into how well they're going to emulate your threats.
That's a really great point, Cowboy. It's not just how good of a red team are they, which that matters, but how well are they going to red team you against the threats that your business, your sector, your whatever, your niche is going to be susceptible to? That is something you should be considering. And if they can't tell you what they're going to do specifically against your sector, maybe that's not the right red team for you to be looking at. I 100% agree with you.
You said 100%.
I did.
It's okay.
You rub
for
it
you,
off
though.
on me.
Yeah.
What else you got for us tonight, Cowboy?
All right, my closing thoughts. So, you scored at AI XCC at DEF CON 33? Great. You just proved a machine can patch itself. Now, if only your budget could do the same. I am Cyber Cowboy. Stay frosty.
And that's a wrap on DEF CON 33, where the future of cybersecurity wasn't just discussed. It was demoed, dissected, and dropped into some GitHub repos. Whether you're defending endpoints or building autonomous agents, the message is clear. Adapt or be outpaced. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and above all, stay hacked. I'm your professor of cyber risk. That's all for this week, and we'll talk again soon. If you like this podcast, share it with your colleagues and friends. Your support is how we are able to continue to make this content. Thank you.